More than 20 years ago, we started with having a huge suicide rate of our young people. Our tribal government stopped everything. They had an assembly in one of the schools. They called all the children together from the different school districts. And they wanted to know what was wrong, how could they help. And they did a survey. They asked if anyone that you could talk to that was at this big gathering, who would it be? And many of them, most of them, said they would talk to the spiritual leader. The other thing they asked is they wanted to reconnect with their culture. They didn't know who they were as Lakota. That led myself and many others that wanting to help our communities to get better to look at what was happening so that we could make some changes. What wasn't being addressed was knowing who they were. Even the tribal schools were not teaching Lakota history or language in any significant way. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall down for anything. And that's kind of what it is when you don't know who you are and you don't have your cultural identity or cultural foundation. You'll fall down for anything. So we decided to do a camp. In fact, we decided that we would, because of this rash of suicides, we made a commitment to each other. We made a pledge that we would do one camp per season for a year. And that was 28 years ago. Being Lakota is something that is a foundational thing for me. And I think it has really, through my life, has led me down this path to where I am now. I didn't always realize that. It's been a journey for me to learn who I am and to be comfortable with it and to embrace it. The life of Lakota before Europeans, before the invasion, as we call it, was much different. We would follow the buffalo. The buffalo are our relatives. And we exist because they do. Everything we needed, the buffalo provided. When we would harvest a buffalo, it was done with prayer, it's done with reverence, and we didn't waste anything. The fate of the buffalo was much like ours. Most of them were murdered. It was intention by the government because they recognized that the buffalo was our primary food source. And so they thought if they killed all the buffalo that we would die soon. But they couldn't kill all the buffalo, much as like they couldn't kill all of us. So then their second plan was then to put the buffalo in corrals, put them in pens and in cages, limit where they could go. And so the same thing happened to us. We were put on reservations to be politically correct. They simply couldn't put us there and let us starve. Wouldn't be appropriate. They had to give us rations. So they gave us things that our bodies were not able to process. As a lot of people say, white things are bad for us. White flour, white sugar, white lard. All of those things were terrible on our system, which resulted in diabetes, in heart conditions, in obesity. This generation may be the first generation that doesn't live as long as their parents. And that breaks my heart. You always want them to live longer, be stronger. And this is a critical generation for us. We have to turn it around for them. We have to get it back, our health back. And in order to do that, we have to get back to wild game. We have to get back to buffalo. And we have to get back to our native plants, our indigenous plants. Stop the processed foods. This is a journey that's going to take us a while. The organization that I work with is Lakota Youth Development. We assist youth to reclaim their Lakota identity and spirituality and language through experiential programming, retreats, camps, leadership opportunities, and apprenticeships. We work with youth with various aspects of living. We have horses. Lakota people were a horse people. It was said that a Lakota warrior had 6 legs. 2 were his and the other 4 were his horse. So we have a program now where we help our youth reconnect to the Horse Nation relatives. We teach them safety and how to have healthy relationships, helping them to learn their boundaries by having the horses teach them about boundaries and about respect. So we have a variety of activities here that happen all year round. It's multi-generational. We have elders here that they learn from. They get to listen to the stories. They get to ask questions and learn things. We teach them how to make their own Lakota-style bow and arrow, and so they're able to do that. And we also teach them how to hunt with respect and how to do that in a way that they'll be able to provide for their family, but also to be able to do it in a Lakota way that is respectful culturally, environmentally, and spiritually. Everything we do is with prayer and carefully recognizing that we're not the only ones that live here. We have winged and four-legged relatives that this is their home too, and we try to be mindful of that. We are also teaching how to harvest, how to identify wild medicinal and edible plants, and how to harvest them, how to process them in a way that is good and healthy and minimizes the need for processed foods and medicines. We're doing our best to find every aspect we can to help them to grow up healthier. In the future, we want the youth to take over the programming and take it to the next generations. But we don't want to have them struggle as hard as we had to. So my vision is to make every aspect of our programming sustainable, self-sustaining, and successful so that they can focus on building and creating new programs and taking it even farther. One of the exciting projects I have the opportunity to be involved in and have here is our underground garden, so that we can grow in the wintertime, so that we can promote having them eat healthy all year round. We started with a hole in the ground, and for years I would take visitors to come and I would show them the hole in the ground, and I said, somewhere I read that there was a place that they made a garden and you could grow your vegetables all year round. That's my vision for this hole in the ground. Most of the people rolled their eyes at me, and some of them, well, rightfully so, but risk and is important to take if you're going to make improvements. And seizing opportunities is another one. We try very hard to not let an opportunity pass us by. So I had met this Frenchman that came, and I showed him what we were doing, and I told him of our hole in the ground, and lo and behold, he didn't laugh. He didn't even roll his eyes. And you know what? He took that idea and he created plans. He studied and created this wonderful plan of making this garden. And to me, it has been the most exciting experience I've had in a long time. single-size indoor garden that has a 12 by 20 planting area. Maka Oklate Owoju in Lakota, because it is a garden that is under the ground. The ground itself is a special design. We've prepared this so that it has drainage. We put in big stones, and then we added gravel, and then we added a fabric mesh over a corrugated drainage pipe that goes the length of the garden for drainage. The drainage system has been trenched several yards down the hillside so that if this would fill up with water for whatever reason, the water has a place to drain. Not a lot of high-tech tools were needed to create this. Once the initial shaping of the underground location was done, there was a lot of hand labor. This is what we came up to, figured out to use to fill the continuous sandbags. Those were all done by hand. The sandbag wall is really a result of a handful of strong men and using some really low-tech but helpful tools. The wall is 9 foot high. It gives us the depth so that Grandmother Earth can keep the inside of it warm just by the geothermal heating. Our roof is designed with a special polytarp that is specific for greenhouses. There's not one screw or nail in fastening it down. It's all held in with a system of aluminum troughs and wires. We also have a gutter system filling our water tanks so that we have a way to continue to keep them filled.
I think that's an awesome model for the youth, to teach them to think in those terms. Take care of Mother Earth. You know, we're on this planet, riding together, all humans, and we got to learn how to take care of her. And I think when things like this, and even just this one little mindset, would generate a ripple through reservation communities and other places where it would be a good thing to be self-sufficient. And that's what this camp is about, self-sufficiency. You know, we harvest, we clean, and preserve some of it, store some of it, dry some of it, and we cook some of it. The youth cook it. They harvest, clean, cook it, they serve it, and then we eat with them. I think that's a whole circle of the need for self-sufficiency. It explains it right here.
So it's going to be a huge program, one that we've been waiting for a number of years. So we're excited. We're excited to share this with people.
I was trying to translate hope, because we don't have abstracts. But I think hope means to watch for. It's more active. You don't hope, you watch for things.
I see the organization growing with the plants, with the medicines, and nurturing more and more of our wild plants, and creating a system where they can learn all of the necessary aspects of survival in today's world. Survival and thriving. Because I think the thing is that we always talk about we want our kids to survive, but I think Lakota Youth Development wants our kids to thrive. We want them to be successful, however that means, and being able to do that being Lakota. We now have youth that are now teachers. They are working in other youth programs that are being successful, and they know who they are. If you ask them who they are, they're going to tell you they're Lakota. And they're going to know what that means. I like to read quotes, inspiring quotes, and one that has always stuck with me. Actually, it's a quote from Margaret Mead. Maybe someday I'll be able to share it with you in Lakota. But it's never taken a large number of people to change the world. It's only been a small group of people to make a difference. And so That's my thought. That it's never been more than a small group of people to be able to make change. And that, to me, is the best thing, to be reminding each and every one of us that we can be the change that's needed. Thanks for listening.
Oh, good,